Hi, everyone.
مرحبا مرحبا.
Thank you, Lisa, for the invitation. I'm very honored to be reading karaoke and sharing my project with you. I want to start with a project that I did in 2015. North Pole Future is a project about selling promises. I was going on a sea residency program called the Arctic Circle, which let me travel within 10 degrees of the North Pole. In order to fund this expensive residency program, Wong, my investment manager, who also happens to share the same physical body with me, offered collectors the chance to commission customized work of art in advance. The project opened at P on April 12, 2015. Collectors could pick 3 things from a pre-selected list. 1, a day between October 7th and 18th, AM or PM. 2, a color. And 3, a weird English word. They pay for it first without knowing what they would get from me. They are basically buying a piece of paper from me. On the contract, there are small terms. One of them was basically, whatever trash I make for you, you had to take it. There's no refund. And if I die there or got eaten by the polar bear, the contract would not be valid anymore. This is the wall across the one with contracts on it. As I said, the collector makes the selections, sign a contract, and pay in advance. The price of each contract is different, and the price was determined by a compressed calculation that factors together weather conditions, snowfall, sun cover, moon illumination, and other random variables. If a sale is made, a small percentage, around 7.7 to 10% of the sale, would be donated anonymously by me to a nonprofit organization. I'm interested in action that have real engagement, interaction with the real world. Even though the basic project premise is about not fitting into the economic model that currently prevails in the art world. The exhibition also features video interviews with select experts, including an art dealer, a commodity trader, a prom booker, and a fishmonger. I got inspiration from them by learning about the nature and techniques of valuation and pricing in their industries. Instead of simply letting the market absorb my art, I want to employ the market as a part of my artistic process. I'm trying to invent alternative models for a healthier cultural ecosystem by redefining the collector-artist relationship. And I'm happy to have 7 collectors be my patron for this project. Let's fast forward 2 years. At the same space, P, in 2017. Between March 8 and April 12, in my solo exhibition, Futures Again, I displayed the fruits of the journey. 7 commissioned work, including a new essay film, A River in the Freezer. I also offered for sale the leftover day from 2015, the yet-to-be-commissioned memories from the residency. This film, A River in the Freezer from 2017, is heavily inspired by the world's northernmost settlement, called Long Year Bin, where by law no one is allowed to die. The film combined directed and found footage to mediate upon cryogenics. Long Year Bin, a fair-haired manga character, Cygnus Yoga. National Science Foundation, Ice Core Archive in Colorado. 19th century global trade in ice, Camp Century in Greenland, a subglacial US project for research and secret nuclear warfare, and color wavelength theory in regard to ice, among other topics. Working with my musician friends, composer Kyle Oppenheimer, and singer May Will. I'm finishing this educational karaoke piece. Just as news broke, the Trump administration was planning to significantly cut the budget of the environmental production agency. The complete work hung on the wall as a timeline, ranging from 7th to 18th of my October 2015 residency. They represent a moment from the past that now being made visible. I'm going to focus on one of the resulting work, which happens on the second day of my Arctic adventure. I asked 8 fellow travelers, which include a mix of artists and scientists, to stand in a circle facing 8 cardinal directions, with holding my pinhole cameras. The battery for digital cameras died out very easily in the extreme cold, so I thought it would be fun to work with pinhole cameras, since pinhole camera only require light and time. Both the performance and resulting photos become the realization of October 8, 2015 p.m. Augustite, gold. Another interesting thing is that I feel time is more valuable there because the daylight is much shorter and very limited. We lost 20 minutes daylight every day. And my fellow travelers also had their own projects. So convincing them to help me with my project was tricky. There's no North Pole money, so you can't pay for their labor. Also, money doesn't really matter, since there's no place to spend it. There's no Wi-Fi, so you can't even go online shopping. I ended up proposing that if they agree to help me, in exchange, I will give each of them a shoulder massage, which I'm super good at, for the exact amount of time for their performance. Plus, they got to drink my exotic Japanese whiskey. Somehow, whiskey is indeed a kind of North Pole money there. Generally, in my practice, I'm really not interested in the static object. I'm interested in the object that is performative. I'm interested in how objects are made, how things came to be. Rather than producing work that embody the past, I create things, whether tangible or intangible, that will provoke future events. I started renting a studio space in Manhattan's Chinatown last year. I want to talk about this banana man who runs a fruit stand downstairs below my building. I was told that many of the landlords in Manhattan's Chinatown do not give their tenants, including this fruit stand and the vegetable one next to it, any kind of official rental contract on paper. Nevertheless, they have maintained business relationship for decades. They believe the concept of face, 面子, is worth more than a piece of paper. Eating one's work looks really bad to them and causes huge damage to their reputation and social currency. I found this invisible contractual relationship, bound not by law, but by prestige, dignity, honor, and respect, extremely interesting. This interests me because I want to understand what a promise could mean over a long period of time. What happens if we have a contract that lasts for 99 years or 999 years? Because language changes over time, the contract we enter in 2018 might not mean the same in 2117. The original contracting parties would be dead. How could I tailor this type of project? What should I consider? Now I want to talk about my solo presentation at Art Basel, Hong Kong in 2018.
How long is forever? In legal contracts, genetics, art, and our personal lives, we often employ expressions like in perpetuity, everlasting, permanent, even immortal. Yet the meaning of these terms is different in every situation and often alters in response to changing circumstances.
My work chases this conundrum across history and into such current biotechnological fields as gene slicing and reverse aging.
Works including sliding box wall photograph pieces, double-sided drawings on hinges, a DNA sampling station, and a film, all designed to encourage the audience participation on the molecular, physical, and intellectual levels.
All work from this project are available for acquisition in two different ways. One, you can buy them outright and own them forever. Or two, you can rent them on a 99-year lease, preserved in a paper contract on strings of DNA that can last 700,000 years. How long is forever for George Church?
In a space short, palindromic repeats. Cluster regularly in a space short, palindromic repeats. Editing tool that makes specific changes to the DNA. 23 pairs of chromosomes, 46 individual chromosomes. Can carry about 20,000 genes. Integrated them.
Sex, disease resistance, skin color, hair color, eye color, height, weight, athletic ability, intelligence are all determined by genes.
And now you can edit them.
Whether the embryo
Agrees or not, a different issue.
Church says aging should be thought of as a program that can be reversed. Wong says, in the future, after months of pregnancy, you may produce life that lasts just 3 seconds or 300 years.
What you just saw is an excerpt from my film, Uploading Consciousness to Lotus Wood. 9 months after I showed it at my Art Basel presentation, Chinese scientist heard, I actually don't know how to pronounce his name, said that he just created the world's first genetically edited babies. My recent film are structured in my signature karaoke-inspired sing-along format, switching between documentary and music video style content. If I have time, I like running in the evening. Running for me is a form of moving meditation. It's intense and soothing. It's physically tiring, yet emotionally and mentally recharging. I like running subtitles in karaoke because I like the idea of running with time. Following the running subtitles is intense experience for the eyes, yet learning the research information is intellectually fulfilling. Here's the DNA sampling station, where visitors convert into, the PCR products, which could be sent off for DNA sequencing, if the visitor so chose. Or they could keep their DNA as an object, storing it in a freezer where the DNA can literally last forever if that freezer can last forever. DNA, the newest information technology, is also the world's oldest. If we think about this within the context of growing digitalization and archival fever in the art world and beyond, DNA data storage is in fact fulfilling the gap between archival technologies currently in use and enduring digital repository of the future. While we tend to oppose the analog with the digital, the physical with the virtual, the future might just return to one of the most analog, most physical things in the world, our bodies, and their natural data storage. I want to see if it's possible to have an altruistic exchange within an art fair context. I'm basically giving out free artwork, which is made with that person's DNA. If participants chose to donate part of their DNA to my future projects, I work with programmers and scientists to encode it with a 99 years list and other image video. We end up having more than 100 people donating their DNA to me.
These primers amplify the hypervariable region, HVR, in the mitochondrial genome, mtDNA. Since 100% of one's mitochondrial DNA comes from the mother, it exclusively tells us the genetic polymorphism that comes from the maternal lineage, the female history of your family. The sequence of the PCR product we generate in my project will therefore theoretically categorize people according to their different haplotype groups, which tells us something about the population migration and genetic admixture in human evolutionary history.
I would like my audience to be very close to my work, so close that my project literally get inside viewers' bodies. I also like the fact that audience get to learn not by how difficult and advanced the procedure is, but by how easy and low-tech it is. I was 100% made in Hong Kong. Growing up in Hong Kong, where every corner and gap is precious, informed my decision to transform the tiny project booth into a multifunctional space, incorporating a list by song, a karaoke lounge, and a DNA sampling station. I didn't want my booth to be just a showroom. I wanted to be a social space where the audience could interact with me and the scientists. This is the first and last page of the 99-year list. About 2 months ago, on November 16, I signed one of the 99-year lists of my artwork with my let's see. I said to him, unless other arrangements are made, my yet-to-be-made daughter and future grandchild will collect back my work on November 16, 2117. A late when fee might be applied past due date. Then he replied,
And as my yet unborn great-grandchild will be instructed not to be late returning your work to your descendants.
I was talking with an art dealer and told me that in the late 60s and early 70s, the Japanese started buying lots of impressionist paintings, and some of them worried the certificate of authenticity would be lost. So they attached the certificate on the back of the painting just to make sure the painting is real. So I thought, if I can make a shelf or photo space within the structure of my art piece, and my collector, vendor, can place the 99-year list in it, that would be nice and organized. You can see the 99-year list is being taken out from the folder space.
More folder spaces.
You can turn the double-side drawings on hinges 180 degrees. This is the flip side of the folder space. My work requires viewers to use not just their eyes, but their hands and body as well. Here's a sample, a synthetic bio company, encode synthetic DNA with my 99-year lease. Time is often an important element in my project, but I think my project is more than time and money. Although a monetary transaction is involved, my interest is to explore an alternative and hopefully healthier art ecosystem by turning collectors into patrons. Instead of buying an object from artists, can a collector patron give financial or other support to artists' practice that they believe? I like to pose the question, what is the work that a collector is collecting nowadays? Is it the object, the experience, the relationship, or the email exchange? If you're a collector or non-collector who is interested in working with me for next DNA projects, let's talk at the end. This lecture non-performance that I'm giving here today is another step towards finding an alternative ecosystem in the art world. Lecture non-performance is not simply the reversal of lecture performance. Non-performance is, in fact, a valid legal term, referring to the failure to keep the terms of a contract. As you were entering this room to listen to my lecture non-performance, were you entering a contractual relationship with me as well? But what is this contract? Is it the act of listening, of not listening, of listening but also thinking about your other plans? If you want to discuss further or have any Magic Mushroom answer for me, feel free to email me. Or if you know of any Magic Mushroom dealer contact, please let me know too. I would love to have some for research purposes. Thank you for listening.
شكراً جزيلاً. النهاية وداعاً.
Thank you, my singer Jay, here today.